Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we have another war video for today. It's war number 7 of the season up against CADBL. I don't really know how to pronounce theirs. But yeah, so I've got 4 fights today. First one is a warlock on path 8A. So oddly enough, I've been assigned a 5-star for the first time in a while, and I'm actually going to be using it. Not one for pre-fights or anything like that. But yeah, we got 5-star Venom because he's immune to the power drain, so we're not going to eat any degen. And also his unique buffs mean that we can get around Warlock's infection as well. So yeah, the aim here is just hit, literally I think DLO on our chat when he assigned it was just like hit him till he dies is the strat here. You don't have to worry about the fact that it's a 5-star that you're using.
You done messed up, Aaron!
And then there, yeah, I don't know what happens, like my dex I dex so early on that one and ate the end of the special one, and a bit of shock on me, but yeah, other than that, it's fine. One thing I did notice though, and I don't know if it's just because Venom's a large or extra large champ, it's just it felt really like stiff, the controls for this game. So if I had another fight right after this that I was going to be taking, I would have reset, but my other fights were all taken the next morning. So yeah, I just kind of, obviously you can't change anything when you're already in a fight, so I got to the end of this one. But you'll see I just end up playing it like really cautiously. I'm blocking a lot. And yeah, just kind of just getting it down really without trying to make any mistakes. This is such an easy matchup that it'd be embarrassing to give away any deaths. But we get it down. It ends up being a bit slower than it should have been. Probably much less clean than it should have been as well, but it's a solo at the end of the day, so you just take it and you move on. Other than that, there's not a lot to say to this fight, so I'll move on to the next one. Alright, so second fight of the war is up against Modok on node 25, which is the Footloose, kinetic transference, crumbling armor, immune to ability accuracy reduction, and all that. So this one, we waited for the boss to go down, and something I didn't realize when going into this, I kind of gathered it from skimming through messages and chats that it was a really tight war at the time, but I didn't check how tight. I'm glad I didn't, because it was super tight in terms of the score at this point. I think it was 11-10 on deaths, so 1 death and we would have lost the war.
Wow! Okay!
Because despite winning on time, we were actually 1 down on diversity, and I'll explain that later, but first I'll talk through this fight. So the strat here is obviously the global is gone because the boss is down, so we don't have to worry about high ground, which is brilliant, because with Doom here the strategy is a real slow play, so high ground would be building quite rapidly in this fight, and you do not want that. So the plan is parry medium into heavy, or just heavy. I like to do the medium to get the shock up, and because while he's stunned he can't auto block you, so you can get that in safely. And then it's a lot of special 1 dexes, so I practice them a lot, and to be honest I'm usually like pretty down with them, but naturally under pressure, if you just go like a second too late or whatever, it's really easy to get clipped by modok special 1. So yeah, we do well for the most part. I had an invuln boost on as well, just to allow me to eat maybe a few of them. I didn't think at any point I'd eat an entire special 1, mostly get clipped by the end. Obviously that lets me eat 3, but then there I just, you know, miss a parry and waste you know, one of the hits of my own invuln. I am getting a bit backed up here, but you know, I just keep composure, keep going with the plan. One big thing I forgot going into this, so it was something we didn't really discuss when I talked over the fight with my officers. Stand your ground there, just catching me out. But yeah, the one thing we didn't really talk about when we planned, something that was forgotten about in conversation, is when modok throws his special 1, he reduces, you know, regen and power rate. So essentially, having 5 out of 5 MD here means I'm getting quite a lot of power gain from Footloose buffs being staggered or expiring. And him reversing that means that I'm pretty much not going to get any power all fight. And part of my plan originally was actually to cycle special 1 and 2s, you know, using those special 1s to get unblockable for these special 2s as well, and letting MD give me most of my power. So that obviously went out the window as soon as I entered the fight, and I kind of had to just be like, right, you know, get it out of your head, it doesn't matter, you can't do that anymore. The, you know, the parry heavy method should still work, and it does. And this becomes a long fight as a result of not having any specials to throw. But, you know, you've just got to keep your composure. As you can see here, he's just slipping up on a few of his special 1s, but overall keeping pretty well composed, and I don't mind having to heal afterwards as well. Like, I don't care. The main thing is just get a solo here on what's not an easy match. But yeah, Doom is just so good for this node in general, and there's a lot of champs here, even ones he wouldn't traditionally counter, that he does, as I've seen in these last two wars, having taken Ebony Maw here last war and now Modok, both for the first time. So yeah, it's almost down. Small spoiler, obviously, I will get the solo on this one. There won't be a last second screw up and throw it away. But yeah, nice to get that solo, and I'll be back up for the next fight. Right, so fight number 3 of the war for me is a wasp on rage. So again, this one is a Doom fight, and it's a slow play in terms of the strat. And yeah, obviously that's why it's nice to have high ground gone with the boss down. So here, like I said, we've got a heal Doom up from the last one. And initially I was going to throw a combat regen boost for this and the next fight, which is also going to be taken with Doom. But I just thought, you know what, chuck on another invulnerability boost, you know, just be safe, because with this wasp fight, it's just a heavy so parry heavy cycle, that's it. That's all you do all fight. I'm still boosted, which usually for rage, you try not to throw on any attack boosts. But because you're using Doom here and you are literally just heavying and staggering and stopping any furies like that, you can afford to be big boosted, and that helps as well, just to have some extra health. So the only real way this fight can go wrong is if, you know, you try to throw some combos in between, which at one point I kind of do, instead of just sticking to the heavies only. I threw a few hits and that gives her some furies. So obviously, typically don't want to do that. Maybe a few times, but, you know, generally not. And then the main way it can go wrong is you just, you know, you miss a parry and eat a heavy or a special 1 or something like that from Wasp, or she combos you into a heavy and she hits hard, you know, especially if she gets a few furies from the rage. Like you can see, she's already been given 1 there, which is another reason I say it's safer to just stick to heavies and accept that it'll be a bit of a slower fight. Yeah, you know, that's the main threat there. She hits really hard, and I actually saw that in an off-season fight where I was playing it pretty, you know, half-focused. Right as I was about to get the solo, a really clean one as well with high health, she just absolutely destroyed me with one combo, you know, and a heavy, where I missed a parry. So obviously I wasn't boosted there, it was off season, but it's just a sign of what can go horribly wrong. So I think, you know, I do take this fight really clean in the end. I don't make any mistakes, but it was just nice to have the invuln anyway, just in case. And like I said, it was a really, really tight war at the time. Again, I didn't know how tight, but, you know, we couldn't die basically. So yeah, get the solo here in the end. As you can see, her furies have actually built up to 3, and that's exactly why I say just stick to the heavies and nail your parries so you don't get cornered too much. But, you know, we managed it quite well, and Doom as well has amazing block proficiency obviously, so he can manage to deal with the extra damage that she'll have with those furies. But yeah, we get the solo, and I'll be back for the next fight. Alright, so fight number 4 and the final fight I had this war is a kingpin. As you can see there, the invuln was just about still on from the last fight. So I go in, you know, typically I would have topped off a little bit, but this was a fight I was like super confident about. You know, it actually makes kingpin slightly easier to manage having the power focus 2, because you can push him to special 1s more reliably without having to, you know, try and parry and obviously risk it having it shrugged off. And he's pretty nice with his specials here. Of course, the big thing that can go wrong with this fight is that aggression prowess really stacking, and then you eat a special 1 or 2 to the face, or even just a special 2 through your block, because that one obviously is much harder to dex. I think I have dexed it a few times before, but nowhere near reliably enough to try it in a war. But here, you know, it's similar to when I took Kingpin a few wars ago on Path 7. Something that's really good is if you're running Doom with 5 out of 5 MD, or any Mystic, but in this case Doom, if you bait out his heavies, you know, you just hold block to, you know, encourage him to throw a heavy. You get the Unstoppable, which is really fast, and as it expires, you get your power from MD. So having 5 out of 5 MD really helps there, getting up to special 3, and getting myself some extra damage here as well. I throw the special 2. Of course, with Doom, when you throw a special 2, it doesn't give them any power, so I don't have to worry about that sending them up. And yeah, you know, I've taken a bit more block damage than I probably would have liked this fight, but overall really clean, and as you can see, wasn't really one I needed to heal for. Though, again, I do generally try to just heal to be safe regardless. And yeah, that's that for my war. So in a moment, there's a screenshot coming up which shows how tight it was after my fights. So this is after me getting my 3 solos. There were 5 more fights left, and in a moment we'll see the alliance score at this point. Yeah, like I said, 11-10. So unfortunately, in those remaining 5 fights, we gave up 1 death. Not going to say the name because I don't want, you know, to draw any attention to that side of it. It's a team sport, so as I've said to that person many times, it's not their fault, it's not on them.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
It does suck to be that, you know, I feel for them being that last fights of the war, having all that pressure on them, but, you know, like we say, there were 10 other deaths before that, you know, I'm sure could have been avoided, most of those. And then what sucks even more is we won this on time as well, which isn't common for us, but we lose this on diversity, despite it being a tie on, you know, attack bonuses, because there was a bit of a mistake in one of the battle groups and they accidentally lost a point on diversity as a result. But again, you know, no one should take the brunt, like the full brunt of the blame here. It's, you know, spread between us all. We've all had our moments of weakness this season, and we've just got to keep our heads up, keep pushing. Cyber Weekend's probably been a welcome distraction for a few people. And yeah, we go again in the final, what is it now, 5 wars? Yeah, 5 wars left this season. So we will just push on and hopefully be able to secure Masters still. We are 3-4 for the season now. So yeah, we've lost 1 more than we've won, but we can turn it around and hopefully still secure Masters. But yeah, all that's left to say is, I guess, congratulations to CADBL.
Congratulations!
On the win. And yeah, that's pretty much all for this video. So take care, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.